Luke Weaver is the best reliever in the game of baseball right now.
Luke Weaver was never meant to be a star. The Yankees didn't plan for him to become their postseason savior.
When I went back and looked at kind of everything that happened with you as a baseball player, it was a weird one, right? Like you're signed by Cincinnati, released, claimed by Seattle, there for less than a month, and then claimed by the Yankees, where you are now.
But there he was, shutting down the best hitters in baseball when it mattered most. Batters walked up to face Luke Weaver and walked right back to the dugout, shaking their heads.
Weaver makes quick work of Pasquantino and then Perez, striking them both out.
And the pitch. Swing and a miss. Got him on the change.
The same Luke Weaver who couldn't stick with a single team. The same guy who had an ERA of over 6.0 last season. How did this transformation happen? And what was it about Weaver's pitching that made him one of the most surprising and unstoppable forces in the 2024 postseason? As we watched Weaver thrive in his high-stakes role, it's hard not to be reminded of another pitcher who had a similar transformation. I'm talking about Kenley Jansen. Jansen, now one of only 7 pitchers in Major League Baseball history with over 420 saves, started his career as a catcher. He signed with the Dodgers in 2004, and his hitting was so poor that the team made a bold decision. They turned him into a pitcher. Under Charlie Huff's guidance, Jansen transformed himself into one of baseball's most dominant closers.
Another 2-2. And Ruff swings and misses. Down he goes.
Leading the National League in saves twice and posting a career 2.52 ERA. Weaver's journey, much like Jansen's, was equally unexpected. Growing up in DeLand, Florida, he was a shortstop. His father, Mark Weaver, built a hitting compound on their 30-acre property, complete with batting cages, pitching machines, and lights for night practice. Those countless hours of practice weren't preparing him for his current role. They were preparing him for something entirely different. When Luke Weaver re-signed with the New York Yankees last January, he was hoping to jumpstart his flagging career as a starting pitcher. The Yankees didn't bring him in with the expectation that he become their postseason closer. He wasn't brought in with a history of saves or years of experience dominating in the 9th inning. In fact, he was a late addition to the bullpen, joining as a fill-in reliever, not a designated closer. Yet, as the season unfolded, Weaver showed a different side of himself.
Got him swinging! A 6-out save!
The team's usual closer, Clay Holmes, struggled to find consistency, leaving the Yankees without a reliable 9th inning pitcher. So when Weaver was given the ball in September, he seized the opportunity. He quickly went from a supporting role to anchoring the bullpen in the highest stakes games of the season. As I mentioned earlier, his rapid ascent and newfound skill on the mound echo another of baseball's greatest journeys, Kenley Jansen. But this is where the story gets interesting. While Jansen built his Hall of Fame career primarily on one pitch, his devastating cutter, Weaver has engineered something entirely different. Working with Yankees ace Garrett Cole, Weaver has developed what analytics show to be one of baseball's most sophisticated combinations ever seen in the closer role. I'm talking about a rising fastball and a diving changeup. This combination doesn't just fill the role of closer, it changes the expectations for it. Let's break down exactly what makes Weaver's transformation so remarkable. Last season, his fastball came in at about 94 miles an hour. That's a pretty good fastball. This season, he picked up 2 miles an hour, but that's not the story. With that velocity jump and with the additional spin, he's picked up an additional 3 inches of upward rise on his fastball. In baseball terms, that takes it from being a good pitch to being an elite pitch. His fastball has transformed from average to exceptional, with 19.6 inches of total induced rise in the playoffs, putting him in rare company. Let's compare this to Garrett Cole, one of baseball's premier power pitches, with a 96 mile an hour fastball with 18 inches of induced rise and 7 inches of arm side run. They're nearly identical profiles. Weaver's transformation is like a journeyman guitarist suddenly playing at Jimmy Page's level, but the fastball is only half the story. Weaver's changeup has undergone an even more dramatic transformation. He's completely reconstructed it to create more drop, 3.6 additional inches compared to last season. This is where the science gets fascinating. He's throwing the changeup almost 3 miles per hour harder than last year, which should mean less movement, but instead he's getting more. This comes from his masterful manipulation of what baseball scientists call seam shifted weight, essentially using the baseball seam to create unexpected movement. Think about this for a moment. Weaver has abandoned his breaking balls, the knuckle curve, the slider, and the sweeper in favor of his fastball changeup combination. In the playoffs, he's even dropped his cutter. He became a 2-pitch closer, but those 2 pitches are so perfectly engineered that batters still can't figure them out. This fastball changeup combo has been Weaver's ticket to a surprising dominance. In 2024, Weaver's grip adjustment gave his fastball almost 2 additional miles per hour in velocity and nearly 3 more inches of rise, which forces batters to misjudge the pitch path. And his changeup has taken on a similar magic, with added downward movement that makes it even tougher to hit. These 2 pitches create a movement differential that confuses batters, as the pitches seem to diverge drastically from each other by the time they reach the plate. This pitch pairing is now his secret weapon, and it's what's enabling him to thrive under the pressure of the postseason. Weaver has become just the 3rd pitcher ever to finish each of his team's first 6 games of a postseason. His company in this achievement, Jose Leclerc in 2022, and fittingly, Kenley Jansen in 2017. This isn't just about counting stats, it's about trust. The Yankees, one of baseball's most storied franchises, are putting their postseason hopes in the hands of a pitcher who had an ERA of 6.0 as a starter last year. What makes this even more impressive is the mental strength required. Imagine completely rebuilding your approach to your profession at the highest level, under the brightest lights, for the New York Yankees. Weaver isn't just throwing different pitches. He's thrown away everything he knew about pitching and rebuilt himself from the ground up. The technical mastery here is unprecedented. When Weaver releases the ball, his fastball and changeup look identical to the batter. By the time they reach the plate, they're in completely different locations. The fastball stays true and carries through the zone, while the changeup drops more than physics and gravity suggest that it should. This isn't just good pitching, it's pitching artistry. In the playoffs, where every pitch can mean the difference between victory and elimination, Weaver allowed just 3 hits in 7 innings while striking out 9. His only run allowed came on a solo home run to Jose Ramirez, one of baseball's best hitters, in a game the Yankees were already winning comfortably. The Yankees' decision to make Weaver their closer wasn't desperation. It was recognition of a rare talent. With their regular closer, Clay Holmes, struggling with blown saves through the beginning of the season, Weaver's emergence as a reliable closer was a godsend. Weaver stepped up at just the right time, finishing every save opportunity without a single blown save in the season. In his 7 playoff innings, he allowed only 3 hits while keeping his whip at a stunningly low .571. This has made him one of the most dependable pitchers in the playoffs, and he's done it all with the confidence and control that usually comes from years of experience. What we're witnessing isn't just a good pitcher having a hot streak. We're watching someone who has mastered the science of pitching. While Jansen showed with a 1-pitch closer could dominate by perfecting that pitch, Weaver is demonstrating that understanding the physics of baseball combined with elite execution can create a closer who's equally effective but in completely different ways. The comparison between Weaver and Jansen goes much deeper than their unconventional paths to closing. Both have proven that baseball success isn't linear. Jansen went from a struggling catcher to an elite closer, while Weaver went from a shortstop to a struggling starter to one of the most dominating closers in playoff history. In many ways, this season feels like a bridge between 2 generations. Jansen's influence and legacy have paved the way, setting the standard for dominance that closers aim for. Now, Weaver is stepping in with his own style, carrying that torch forward and bringing something fresh to the role. Jansen, for his part, has spent over a decade perfecting the art of closing games, using his cutter to create a sense of dread for batters late in the game. As I mentioned earlier, his accumulated ERA of around 2.52 with over 420 saves in his career solidified his pace as one of the best closers in baseball history. While Weaver has yet to reach those career milestones, his career success hints that he might one day achieve similar heights. Here's the thing, Weaver has combined traditional baseball wisdom, like the countless hours of practice in the Florida backyard, with cutting-edge pitching science to create something entirely new. He's not just following in the footsteps of greats like Kenley Jansen, he's blazing his own trail. The truth is that Weaver's story is still being written. He's just now starting to make a mark on baseball, and the success in the 2024 season might just be the beginning. If he continues on his current trajectory, he might become that closer that franchises build their entire roster around. He might anchor the Yankees bullpen for years to come. Watching Weaver thrive under pressure, it's clear that his resilience and his adaptability and his sheer talent have all come together to make him one of the best young closers in all of baseball. So, for fans who watch this postseason, remember the name Luke Weaver. We witnessed the rise of someone who could be a key figure in baseball's next generation of closers. He proved that it doesn't matter how you start. It's about the willingness to adapt, to keep fighting, and to seize the moment when it comes. And if the Yankees' success in the 2024 playoffs was any indicator, Weaver is well on his way to becoming a name that no baseball fan will soon forget. Talking about the next generation generation of baseball stars. Let's be clear, at 31, Weaver is no longer what you'd call a prospect. But take a look at this Orioles rising star who just turned 20 this season.